Hello there, very good evening. This is the weekend edition of Primetime News on TV1 for the Newsfirst, where the people come first. I'm Martin Satyanesan. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for this evening.
Jatika Jana Balawegya stages a protest against the government in Nugegoda. Opposition objects the appointment of a parliament working committee regarding the Supreme Court decision over those who led to the country's bankruptcy.
අඩු තීන්දුව හරහා කාටවත් කියන්න බෑ ආර්ථිකය කඩා වැටෙන්න මේ කණ්ඩායම හේතු වුණා කියලා කියන්නේ. ඒ නිසා තමයි අපි ඉල්ලීමක් කරේ තේරීම් කාරක සභාවක් පත් කරන්න කියලා.
ඒ ඉතිහාසය අපි හොඳට දන්නවා. තේරීම් කාරක සභාව දාලා මේ රටේ අධිකරණයේ මුල් පුරුකට අත තියපු තේරීම් කාරක සභා ඉතිහාසයක් මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ තියෙනවා.
It is wrong for those who destroyed the economy to be dependent on public funds, says Venerable Omal Sobitha Thero. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa's 78th birthday celebrated at the Abhayaramaya temple. President joins a birthday celebration. Who directed letters to the ICC calling for Sri Lanka cricket to be banned? A revelation from the opposition leader.
අගෝස්තු 28 2023 සහ ඊට පෙර ලියපු ලියුම් හරහා ඔප්පු වෙනවා අපේ රටේ ක්‍රිකට් තහනම නිර්මාණය කරේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා ක්‍රිකට් විසින් ඉදිරිපත් කරපු මේ බොරු මේ වැරදි කරුණු කාරණා.
The third generator of the Norochole power plant inactive. Kalanithissa power station to be shut down for 6 weeks. Minister Dr. Susil Premajayanthi elected to the UNESCO Board of Directors.
On to those stories in detail. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has revealed his vision for transforming the economic landscape of the region. He was speaking at the YPO Colombo Experience Rediscover the Pearl conference held in Colombo today.
The principal objectives are competitive economy, digital transformation, energy transition and a green economy. A regional logistic hub. Utilize Industry 4 technology for the future. Secondly, the accelerated agriculture modernization program and fisheries modernization. The industrialization of Tamil Nadu can proceed. It will basically accelerate the industrialization of Tamil Nadu plus Telangana, others around it would become another major industrial and economic center in India. We are already one of the largest investors in Bangladesh. I've told them going to Myanmar, going to Cambodia, going to Laos, going to East Africa, going to West Africa. So we are also encouraging our entrepreneurs to go out. I always felt that tourism is not only a question of Sri Lanka and Maldives, but Sri Lanka and India and Maldives should be one tourist area and maybe all the way up to Nepal. It's a question of how we develop our airlines. We are also upgrading free trade agreement India into a comprehensive economic and technical partnership. We are doing the trade negotiations. We will also have a similar arrangement with Bangladesh, so it covers the whole area. We can create this regional economy. We may not have one big South Asian economic bloc, and the geopolitics are such, I don't think we are all going to work together. Each one has to make it.
A Chinese delegation, including State Councillor Shen Yikin, arrived in Sri Lanka on an official visit on Saturday. This was confirmed to Newsfirst by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Shen will be in Sri Lanka from November 18 to 21st at the invitation of the Sri Lankan government. The Chinese Foreign Ministry announced that Shen will engage in discussions with top government officials. Moving along, a protest organized by the Jatika Jana Balawegya was held in Nugegoda today.
The protest march against the government's actions to burden the people through taxes, price hikes, electricity tariffs and by selling state assets and passing suppressive laws began at the Delkanda junction. The group marched to the Ananda Samarakun Open Air Theatre in Nugegoda.
Ranil Wickremesinghe මේ අයවැය ඉදිරිපත් කරලා කිව්වා කොට්ට උරයස්සේ කන පිට හරවනවා. කීවෙනි පාරද කිව්වේ? කීවෙනි පාරද කිව්වේ? දෙවෙනි පාර. මීට මාසයකට කලින් කොට්ට උරේ අනිත් පැත්ත හැරෙව්වා. මාස කීපයකට කලින්. ආයේ ඒ කොට්ට උරේ අනිත් පැත්ත හැරෙව්වා. දැන් තිබුණු පැත්තමයි. එහෙම නේද? කොට්ට උරේ දෙපාරක් කන පිට හරවපුවාම ඉතුරු වෙන්නේ තිබුණු පැත්තමයි. දීර්ඝ කාලයක් මේ පාලකයින් අපේ රට ගමන් කරමින් තිබුණු මාවත මොකද්ද?
Instead of managing state resources, skills, the geographical location and human resources to make the country a developed nation, rulers have sold assets, obtained loans and imposed taxes over a long period of time. Ranil Wickremesinghe is trying to continue in that path. No one could meddle with the NLDB farms in the country. Now they are attempting to sell the lands after destroying them. That is their plan. 28,000 acres of land. Groups including Ranil Wickremesinghe have repeatedly been saying that state institutions are burdened and cannot be maintained and should therefore be sold. Sri Lanka Insurance is the highest profit-making state institution and it is on Ranil Wickremesinghe's list of institutions to be sold. So is he selling loss-making state institutions? It is making a profit of 1,020,000. Sri Lanka Telecom and Bank of Ceylon is also making massive profits. BOC made a profit of 1,031,000 last year. They are trying to sell those. People's Bank made a profit of 1,021,000 last year. Ranil Wickremesinghe has made plans to sell massive profit-making state institutions. Will we allow it? No, we won't. The Jatika Jana Balawege will join the working people in the country to put an end to selling of state resources and move towards the program to protect state resources for future generations. We must do it.
මේ විකුණන ක්‍රියාමාර්ග නතර කරලා අපේ රටේ ජාතික සම්පත් අනාගත පරම්පරාවට ආරක්ෂා කරලා දෙන වැඩපිළිවෙලට අපි අත තියන්න ඕන. ඒක අපි කරන්න ඕන.
The Samagi Jana Balawege said that the people responsible for the economic downfall of Sri Lanka must pay sufficient compensation to the general public.
A protest was organised by the Samagi Jana Balawege in Gampula under the theme Ivasuwa Ati Ekwa Pannamu, which loosely translates to Enough of Being Patient, Unite in Redemption. The protest was held citing several concerns including the economic crisis and electricity tariffs.
We are taking all steps necessary to punish the Rajapaksas and Ranil Wickremesinghe along with other groups who are directly responsible for the economic bankruptcy of our country. Meanwhile, we are warning those parties to return the money they have stolen from our country.
An awareness program was carried out for the public.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa celebrated his 78th birthday today.
An almsgiving involving mothers was held at the Abhayarama temple in Narahempita this morning in line with former President Mahinda Rajapaksa's 78th birthday. Venerable Muruthettuwe Ananda Thero and the Mahasangha attended the event.
What must we do apart from blessing such leaders? We know that if you were in power, things would have been different. I informed everyone of this event today, but nobody has shown up. That is the situation today. People stand with you only when you are in power. But we aren't like that. Lord Buddha has said that we must show gratitude. Usually there's big crowds here. These are lessons for you as well. We genuinely offer you our blessings. Nobody can erase the service that you provided to our country. You will always be blessed for your services. The Mahasangha and everyone present here are offering you our blessings.
Celebrations to mark the former president's birthday was later held at the temple. Footage of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa's 78th birthday celebrations organised at his residence is circulating on social media. President Ranil Wickremesinghe also joined the celebrations.
Over the past few days, Newsfirst revealed many factors that led to the Sri Lanka's economic collapse based on the recent Supreme Court decision. This is another revelation based on the court order.
Views were shared in Parliament today regarding the Supreme Court ruling on the individuals responsible for the economic bankruptcy in the 2024 budget second reading.
Today this budget has been presented in the background of a historic court judgment that reveals the reasons why our country faced bankruptcy.
මේ නඩු තීන්දුව වැරදි විදියට අර්ථකථනය කරන්න විපක්ෂය බොහෝ
The opposition is attempting to misinterpret this ruling. Deputy Speaker, I personally believe that no one can use this judgment to say that a certain group was responsible for the economic downfall of the country. That is why we suggested that a parliamentary select committee be appointed to find the root causes of the economic crisis. I believe that the court ruling was given based on the written submissions submitted to the court. The court cannot base a decision outside of those submissions.
ඒ කරුණු වලට අදාළව තීන්දුව දුන්නා මිසක් ඊට පරිබාහිර කරුණු අරගෙන උසාවියට තීන්දුවක් දෙන්න බෑ.
දැන් දිගින් දිගටම කියවෙනවා තේරීම් කාරක සභාවක් ගැන. ඒ ඉතිහාසය අපි හොඳට දන්නවා.
Now there is a continuous discussion about a parliamentary select committee. We have seen history very well. This parliament has a history of having select committees that challenge the ruling of the court. No one has forgotten how Shirani Bandaranaike was brought before parliamentary select committee through an impeachment and was subsequently removed from her post. If we are trying to repeat history by not respecting the supremacy of the law, then that should be discussed there without having pointless debates here.
නොයෙකුත් පල්හැඩි කියවන්නේ නැතුව.
මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් තේරීම් කාරක සභා දැමීම පිළිබඳව අපි සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම විරුද්ධ වෙනවා.
We strongly oppose the appointment of a select committee to look into this matter. Our select committees are not enlightened enough to bring judges before the parliament and question them regarding their rulings. Our select committees have been unsuccessful. Therefore, we reject that proposal.
ඒක නිසා ඒ සම්පූර්ණයෙන් අපි ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කරනවා.
අපි දැක්ක ආර්ථික ඝාතකයින් විදිහට හඳුන්වපු අපිත් එකට වැඩ කරපු අයට පහුගිය කාලේ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ.
We saw what had happened to those who previously worked with us and who were recently named the destructors of our economy. We saw what happened to the Gotabaya Rajapaksa-led government who followed the advice given by various economic professionals. How are we supposed to raise our hand for a budget that will give the same ruling by 2026-2027 against the government and this finance minister and the people behind this budget?
ඉදිරිපත් කළා කොහොමද මූලාසනාරුට මන්ත්‍රීතුමියනි අපෙන් සහාය ඉල්ලපුවන් දෙන්නේ.
දැන් අපි අභියෝග කරන වර්තමාන ජනාධිපතිවරයාට.
We are challenging the current president. The people of this country are waiting to see if the guilty party behind the bankruptcy will be brought to the justice. But this will not happen and they are just buying time. The thieves are not being punished and are being protected. State Minister of Investment Promotion Dilu Mamunugama said that talks are being held to refrain from charging VAT from the energy sector. He said that the President has also been informed on the matter. He added that talks on this will also be held with the International Monetary Fund. Moving along, the Kalanithissa power station will be shut down for 6 weeks. The Ceylon Electricity Board says that the power station will be shut down for scheduled maintenance of its gas turbine and steam turbine.
The national grid will lose 165 megawatts of electricity due to the shutdown of the Kalanithissa power station. Meanwhile, the Ceylon Electricity Board says that Unit 2 of the Norotchole power plant will remain non-operational for the next 5 days. According to the CEB, the high-pressure heater system of the generating unit has suffered an emergency breakdown, resulting in a loss of 300 megawatts to the national grid. Unit 3 of the Norotchole power plant also remains inactive due to a scheduled major overhaul maintenance work, resulting in the loss of another 300 megawatts to the national grid. However, the CEB said that the supply of electricity will not be disrupted. The Electricity Board also added that it will continue to supply electricity by generating hydropower. The water capacity associated with hydropower plants has increased to 88%. According to statistics released by the CEB, 52.22% of Sri Lanka's total electricity supply yesterday was generated using hydropower. Only 29.52% of power was generated using thermal power, 5.18% using solar power, 1.06% of wind power, and 11.24% using mini hydropower plants. A program was held to collect signatures for a public campaign in Veyangoda against the increase in electricity tariffs. They allege that the CEB is generating profits by charging high prices for electricity.
The CEB has generated a profit of over 20 billion so far. They issued a statement yesterday that another unit of the Norotchole power plant has shut down. Their profits are overflowing. They are purchasing electricity at less than 5 rupees and selling it at high prices to the people, leaving them absolutely helpless. Kanchana Wijesekara, who is also responsible for the economic downfall, is violating the people's rights. The Public Utilities Commission Act says that the electricity tariff statistics must be made available to the people, but that hasn't been done yet. This means this is an illegal tariff hike.
Sri Lanka will call for expressions of interest in setting up nuclear power plants. Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara posted on X that the government intends to include the safe use of nuclear energy as part of the long-term generation plans. He said the government will call for EOIs for establishing nuclear power plants and modern technology. The primary source of energy in Sri Lanka is from imported oil and coal and hydropower. The government aims to produce 70% of its electricity from renewable sources by 2030. In June 2023, Russian nuclear giant Rosatom offered to build a nuclear power plant that may run 2 reactors and generate 300 megawatts of energy. In the meantime, reports suggest that India is the only South Asian country to have nuclear power plant built with Russian collaboration, while Bangladesh and Pakistan are in the process of setting them up.
Sanjeev Jayawardena President's Council has resigned from his post as member of the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Sanjeev Jayawardena told Newsfirst that he tendered his resignation on November 5th due to intense work pressure in the legal profession and for personal reasons. He said that he has formally tendered his letter of resignation to the Ministry of Finance. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Finance stated that a new member will be appointed to the position left vacant. Over the past few days, Newsfirst revealed many factors that led to the Sri Lanka's economic collapse based on the recent Supreme Court decision. This is another revelation based on the court order. More details of this story will come along during the bulletin. Moving along, Gammadhu's journey of empathy and compassion continues, reaching its 12th day of venturing into the heart of Sri Lankan villages. Amidst the everyday struggles and challenges of life, the Gammadhu teams encountered people who, despite their hardships, bore the resilience of the human spirit on their faces.
This is Samanmali, a mother of 2. While touring the Pilimahela village in Hambantota, our Gammadhu team encountered Samanmali, whose story tugged at the heartstrings. An entire wall of her clay house collapsed after hours of heavy showers. Unfortunately, Samanmali has no means to fix this issue. Samanmali is now left helpless with her 2 children. This is the Galwangua Road in the scenic Grama Seva division in Hambantota. At first glance, this is just a muddy road, but this is a 1.5 kilometer road that has never been constructed. During the monsoon season, children in the area are left with no option but to miss school. How would you feel if you only had access to water for just 4 out of 12 months of the year? But that is the heartbreaking fate of the villagers of Uduwatta Kumbura in Hanguranketha. The villagers can access water from the tube well in the village only during 4 months of the year. The rest of the time, the well is dry, pushing the people to struggle to meet their basic needs.
එකත් ඉතින් ලොරි එකෙන් සාමාන්‍ය මෙතෙන්ද ගේන්නේ ලීටර් 10කට රුපියල් 1500ක් ගන්න. පහුගිය මාස දෙකේ ඇතුළත මම විතරක් ගෙනත් තිනවා වතුර රුපියල් 18000ක මං ගෙනත් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒක ප්‍රමාණවත් මදි.
The people of Kitulgama in Batiklo are experiencing a widespread outbreak of diarrhea, affecting individuals of all ages. This is owing to the turbid water that the people consume on a daily basis. Access to clean drinking water is their biggest challenge. Just like the struggle to access clean drinking water, the struggle to survive the wild elephant menace is also intertwined with the lives of these people. Gamadda once again will walk from village to village, home to home, listening to the people of rural Sri Lanka tomorrow.
Gamadda, made in Sri Lanka.
News First, with the people.
More details of a story that we brought you earlier. Over the past few days, Newsfirst revealed many factors that led to the Sri Lanka's economic collapse based on the recent Supreme Court decision. This is another revelation based on the court order.
In 2016, the Good Governance government reached an agreement with the International Monetary Fund for an extended fund facility until 2021. Accordingly, the program was in operation by November 2019 when Gotabaya Rajapaksa assumed presidency. As the relevant conditions were met based on the agreements reached by the government, there was no obstacle to obtain the last tranche of the extended fund facility, which was over $160 million from the IMF. As stated in the recent Supreme Court ruling, the irrational and arbitrary decision reached by Gotabaya Rajapaksa's government not to secure the final tranche resulted in the collapse of the country's economy. Citing the relevant court decision, Newsfirst revealed yesterday that Professor W.D. Lakshman, who was the governor of the central bank at the time, had submitted reports to the then Minister of Finance Mahinda Rajapaksa on several occasions and insisted on the need for an agreement with the IMF. Mahinda Rajapaksa disregarded, who did not heed that insistence, resigned from the post of finance minister, and Basil Rajapaksa assumed his duties as the successor. Professor W.D. Lakshman had also submitted his initial emphasis to Basil Rajapaksa. The letter addressed by Professor W.D. Lakshman on the 14th of September 2021 is of great importance against a backdrop in which Basil Rajapaksa has also acted despite the insistence. He claimed that since an IMF program, which was negotiated within the broader framework of the government policy agenda of the time, Mahinda Chintana was obtained in 2009, it can be implemented under the Vistas of Prosperity program as well. Lakshman insisted that by implementing such a program, Sri Lanka can be prevented from falling further in terms of international credit ratings and foreign exchange can flow into the country. The Supreme Court ruling stated that W.D. Lakshman has submitted reports to Mahinda Rajapaksa as well as Basil Rajapaksa in line with the instructions of the Finance Act, emphasizing the need to reach an agreement with the IMF. On the 14th of September 2021, Professor W.D. Lakshman stepped down from the post of CBSL governor. On the same day, he submitted his letter to Basil Rajapaksa. The ruling said that in the last letter written by Professor W.D. Lakshman, the court concludes that sufficient facts have been presented that the economy of the country can be stabilized by obtaining the support of the IMF. As mentioned in the case, Ajit Niwad Cabral assumed duties as the governor of the central bank the following day on the 15th of September 2021. He submitted a report to Basil Rajapaksa, who was the Minister of Finance at the time, after 84 days since he assumed duties. The report, dated 9th of December 2021, revealed that serious damage to the country's economy had suffered at the time. What were the most serious facts that were revealed? More details will be revealed tomorrow.
Views were shared in Parliament today regarding the Supreme Court ruling on the individuals responsible for the economic bankruptcy in the 2024 budget second reading.
Today this budget has been presented in the background of a historic court judgment that reveals the reasons why our country faced bankruptcy.
මේ නඩු තීන්දුව වැරදි විදියට අර්ථකථනය කරන්න විපක්ෂය බොහෝ
The opposition is attempting to misinterpret this ruling. Deputy Speaker, I personally believe that no one can use this judgment to say that a certain group was responsible for the economic downfall of the country. That is why we suggested that a parliamentary select committee be appointed to find the root causes of the economic crisis. I believe that the court ruling was given based on the written submissions submitted to the court. The court cannot base a decision outside of those submissions.
ඒ කරුණු වලට අදාළව තීන්දුව දුන්නා මිසක් ඊට පරිබාහිර කරුණු අරගෙන උසාවියට තීන්දුවක් දෙන්න බෑ.
දැන් දිගින් දිගටම කියවෙනවා තේරීම් කාරක සභාවක් ගැන. ඒ ඉතිහාසය අපි හොඳට දන්නවා.
Now there is a continuous discussion about a parliamentary select committee. We have seen history very well. This parliament has a history of having select committees that challenge the ruling of the court. No one has forgotten how Shirani Bandaranaike was brought before parliamentary select committee through an impeachment and was subsequently removed from her post. If we are trying to repeat history by not respecting the supremacy of the law, then that should be discussed there without having pointless debates here.
නොයෙකුත් පල්හැලි කියවන්නේ නැතුව.
මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් තේරීම් කාරක සභා දැමීම පිළිබඳව අපි සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම විරුද්ධ වෙනවා.
We strongly oppose the appointment of a select committee to look into this matter. Our select committees are not enlightened enough to bring judges before the parliament and question them regarding their rulings. Our select committees have been unsuccessful. Therefore, we reject that proposal.
ඒක නිසා ඒ සම්පූර්ණයෙන් අපි ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කරනවා.
අපි දැක්ක ආර්ථික ඝාතකයින් විදිහට හඳුන්වපු අපිත් එකට වැඩ කරපු අයට පෞගිය කාලේ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ.
We saw what had happened to those who previously worked with us and who were recently named the destructors of our economy. We saw what happened to the Gotabaya Rajapaksa-led government who followed the advice given by various economic professionals. How are we supposed to raise our hand for a budget that will give the same ruling by 2026-2027 against the government and this finance minister and the people behind this budget?
ඒක ඉදිරිපත් කළා කොහොමද මූලාසනාරුට මන්ත්‍රීතුමියනි අපෙන් සහාය ඉල්ලපුවන් දෙන්නේ. දැන් අපි අභියෝග කරන වර්තමාන ජනාධිපතිවරයාට.
We are challenging the current president. The people of this country are waiting to see if the guilty party behind the bankruptcy will be brought to the justice. But this will not happen and they are just buying time. The thieves are not being punished and are being protected.
ලුවන් නෑ හොරු බලාගෙන ඉන්න රට හැදලා ගන්න නැවත හොරාකම්.
Venerable Dr. Omal Pesobithathero said that it is a serious breach of the law to allow the people ruled by the Supreme Court as those responsible for Sri Lanka's economic downfall to be using public property.
වත්මන් ජනාධිපතිතුමාට ස්වර්ණමය අවස්ථාවක් නිර්මාණය වෙලා තියෙනවා මේ.
The current president has been given a golden opportunity with this ruling. That is the responsibility of acting against the people ruled as destructors of the Sri Lankan economy. If he loves this country, he should first and foremost take action against those people. It is a serious breach of law to have these people continue to use public property while holding public office. The president should take steps to minimize the damage done by these individuals to this country by assessing their personal assets and providing sufficient compensation to the country.
දේපල සම්පත් පිළිබඳව සොයා බලා රටට අහිමුණු දේපල ඔවුන්ගෙන් ලබා ගැනීම.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa reiterated that it was the Sri Lankan Cricket Board that asked the International Cricket Council to ban Sri Lankan cricket. He said these facts while revealing letters sent by Sri Lanka Cricket to the International Cricket Council.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa tabled a letter in Parliament that was sent by Sri Lanka Cricket to the ICC chairman on the 28th of August. The leader of the opposition pointed out that this has brought up 5 points of the government interference in Sri Lanka cricket. This is the interference of Director General of Sports in the ranking of cricket clubs in Sri Lanka, the Secretary of the Ministry of Sports inquiring about the salaries and allowances of the Board of Directors of Sri Lanka Cricket, the direct pressure from the subject ministry regarding obtaining permission to hold the LPL T20 cricket encounter, the involvement of Sports Minister in making a constitution for SLC, by revealing the incomplete audit report by the Auditor General which had a negative effect on SLC. Furthermore, the letter stated that the Sports Minister also requested Sri Lanka Cricket to donate 20% of their funds to the National Sports Fund. The opposition leader said that this letter was sent to the ICC by Sri Lanka Cricket citing these 6 reasons.
ඉතින් ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම ගරු කතානායකතුමනි මේක බරපතල.
Honourable Speaker, this is a significant issue. They have sent false allegations to the ICC and have said that there is political involvement jeopardizing the sovereignty of the Sri Lanka cricket. This is a completely false allegation. The letter dated 28th of August 2023 and letters that were sent before proves that the ban on Sri Lanka cricket was orchestrated by the false allegations by the SLC. I request all members of the Parliament to research and consult this this matter carefully. This ban was brought on by the SLC by selling false pretenses such as sovereignty and democracy in order to maintain the monopoly within by turning it into an organization that earns money for themselves.
මේ කාරණාව හොඳින් හොයලා බලන්න හොඳින් පරිශීලනය කරන්න. ශ්‍රී ලංකා ක්‍රිකට් තහනම ගෙනාවේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා ක්‍රිකට් ආයතනය ස්වාධීනත්වයේ නාමයෙන් ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදයේ නාමයෙන් එක කල්ලියකට හොර ගුහාවක් කරගෙන Tamanට මුදල් උපයන ආයතනයක් බවට ඒක ඒකාධිකාරිය තබා ගැනීම සඳහා තමයි ශ්‍රී ලංකා ක්‍රිකට් ක්‍රීඩාව ටු දෙකට සිල්ලරයට ජාත්‍යන්තරයට විකුණලා මේ අය මේ තහනම ගෙනාවේ
මේ කියන කාරණා පිළිබඳව මෙතුමා ඉදිරිපත්.
If these allegations are made by the opposition leader with proof, then this is a serious allegation. We suggest that a select committee be appointed to conduct investigations into these matters.
පිළිබඳව පරීක්ෂණයක් කරලා කටයුතු කරන්න කියලා පිළිමක් කරනවා.
තීරීම් කාරක සභාවට දැම්මයි කියන්නේ.
If this is handed over to select committee, then this matter will be buried for sure. I request that a select committee not be limited and to be open to all 225 MPs for all volunteers to join. An unbiased committee should be made. I think it is vital to make a committee to preserve cricket in this country.
ක්‍රීඩාව සුරක්ෂා කිරීම උදෙසා යම්කිසි සභාවක් පත් කරගත්තොත් හොඳයි කියන එක මම යෝජනා කරනවා.
අපි ආණ්ඩු පක්ෂයේ ඉන්නත් බහුතරයක්ම ඉන්නවා ස්ථාවරයක මේ පිළිබඳව විධිමත් පරීක්ෂණ.
The government is also of the opinion that effective investigation must be done into this manner. We propose that a select committee be made up of members well versed in the subject of cricket and not those connected to cricket. Not only the opposition but the majority of the government is also of the opinion that the cricket board is corrupt. Therefore, do not point fingers at the government because we are also of the same opinion.
චෝදනා වෙන විදිහට ලක් කරන්න එපා. අපි තේ ස්ථාවර ඉඳගෙන කටයුතු කරන්න සූදානම්.
Several areas in the Aliala town were inundated due to heavy showers in the area.
Newsfirst correspondent reported that heavy showers were experienced for several hours in Aliala. Several areas in Aliala were inundated. Landslides were reported in Badulla and Aliala. As a result, vehicular movement along the Aliala-Katavala-Galoud road was hampered. Electricity and telephone connections were also disrupted after trees fell onto power and telephone lines along the road. Traffic along the Aliala-Atampiti road was also hampered. Her house in Morathata, Aliala was also damaged due to a landslide. Meanwhile, the Met Department predicts that showers or thunder showers will occur across several areas of the country. Heavy showers above 100 millimeters are likely at some places in the central, Uba and Sabaragamu provinces. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers.
Newsfirst with the people.
Minister Dr. Susil Premajayantha has been elected to the UNESCO Board of Directors. Education Minister Dr. Susil Premajayantha, representing the Asia-Pacific region, has been elected to the Executive Council of the UNESCO Board of Directors from 2024 to 2027 by obtaining a majority of 144 votes out of 188 countries with a high percentage of 76%. Minister Premajayantha was elected for the post in 2008 as well. In more local news, the Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka has proposed amendments to the National Women's Commission Bill, the Gender Equality Bill and the Women's Empowerment Bill.
The Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka has made recommendations to the government on the National Women's Commission Bill, the Gender Equality Bill and the Women's Empowerment Bill. The HRCSL recommendations include considering amalgamating the Gender Equality Bill and the Women's Empowerment Bill into a single consolidated bill, house the Gender Equality Council in the new department to which the Women's Bureau will be upgraded, consider naming the said department the Department for Gender Equality in view of such a change, further strengthen the appointment process with respect to the National Women's Commission, and consider publishing the 3 bills as soon as possible to enable meaningful public consultation on their substance. These recommendations were made in a letter sent by the HRCSL to President Ranil Wickremesinghe yesterday.
After much anticipation, planning, training and fundraising by Right for Ceylon 2023, the X-ray facility at the Green Memorial Hospital in Manipai was officially launched today.
The much-needed X-ray facility at the Green Memorial Hospital in Manipai was launched today.
This is a great time. So many years after we extend our program, X-ray unit start from today. Very soon the environment will change. So thank you each and everybody. Your contribution and prayer, your support to our Green Memorial Hospital. This is always I am telling, this is a teamwork. We will work together, think together, and we promote this hospital betterment for the society.
Our vision not to know one day this hospital also should expand its services, that not only for the people living in this peninsula, even outside Sri Lanka, also this for the international community, that we have to have that vision. So in future, our country, now that we are in the real financial crisis, so really that the state health sector is not able to provide comprehensive care. So this hospital, like a non-profit making hospital, is one of the good model to cater the care of this really needed.
The funds to purchase the digital X-ray machine was raised following the Right for Ceylon ride this year.
It's a pleasure and an opportunity for Right for Ceylon to be part of this hospital for the betterment of the hospital, and we promise you that going forward we will work much harder to make this hospital one of the best in the country.
Right for Ceylon will take to the streets of central and northern Sri Lanka once again next year with a 4-day 485-kilometer bike ride from the 28th of February to the 2nd of March. The ride starts in the historic city of Kandy and finishes in Manipai in the northern Jaffna province.
The 20th anniversary of the Luwa International School was celebrated in Nugegoda today.
A special program was held today to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the Luwa International School in Nugegoda. A walk and vehicle parade was organized in line with this event. The event saw the participation of school administrative heads, faculty, staff, students, parents and the alumni.
Day 50 of the second leg of the Devi Savya program organized by the LOSC group got underway today.
The second leg of the LOLC Divisavya program targets Sri Lankan schools with less than 100 students. Today's program was held centering the Ratnapura district. School books and stationery items were distributed among students of the Atakalampanna Vidyalaya, Yayenna Vidyalaya, Paravatta Tamil Vidyalaya, Pilana Vidyalaya, Madalagama Tamil Vidyalaya and Kiribatkama Tamil Vidyalaya. School books and stationery items for several other local schools were given at the Nivitigala Zonal Education Office. This worthy initiative is a collaboration between the LOLC group and the Ministry of Education.
Yesterday, Israel's cabinet said it would allow 2 fuel trucks a day into the Gaza Strip. But Gaza's UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees says that as yet, none have arrived.
Israel said it will allow 2 fuel trucks a day to enter the Gaza Strip after pressure to do so from the US. A US State Department official said around 140,000 liters of fuel will be allowed in every 2 days. Most of that is intended for trucks delivering aid as well as supporting the UN in providing water and sanitation. The rest is for mobile phone and internet services, which had been cut off due to a lack of fuel. The National Security Minister said the move was leading Israel to a wrong policy, adding that there is no sense in giving the enemy humanitarian gifts until all captives were released. The Finance Minister also slammed the decision as a grave mistake that gives oxygen to the enemy. The head of a nationalist right-wing party urged the cabinet for this recklessness to be stopped at once. According to reports, Israeli forces gave doctors, patients and displaced people at Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza 1 hour to evacuate the medical compound today. More than 20 patients have died at Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital in the last 2 days as Israeli forces continue to raid the facility. The health ministry said that 24 patients died during the 48-hour window due to power cuts at the hospital, which has been out of service since last Saturday amid a fuel shortage.
From that, we bring to a close this edition of Primetime News on TV1. For details of these stories and much more, simply log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. For the News First, where the people come first, I'm Martin Satyanis, and you take care and good night.